And you're good to go.
Yeah. Good morning and welcome everyone to today's premises license review hearing. My name is Councillor Munir Ahmed and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Julian Glant, Councillor Kim Nagpal, and I comprise today's subcommittee. Alison Luff is the legal advisor to subcommittee. Sean O'Brien is the Democratic Officer who is clerk to the subcommittee and who will be minuting the meeting. In accordance with the procedures, I shall invite the applicant to present the application, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. Then I will invite the premises to make their representations, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. Then I will be inviting the applicant and the premises for a final opportunity to sum up their representations. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee democratic service officer, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting, and I hope it would be around 1 p.m. and it will be confirmed in writing forthwith. If the panel cannot reach a decision today, you will be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. Now, before I start, can I ask everyone to introduce themselves, please? And I will start by Robert Deere.
Thank you, Chair. Bob Deere, I'm the Licensing Compliance and Enforcement Officer and the applicant in this application, sir.
Thank you. Robert Sutherland.
Good morning, sir. Robert Sutherland. I'm representing the premises today on behalf of Atlas Licensing.
Okay. There's a Kamal Alton.
Yes, I am here. I am just the director of the Northwest Supermarket Limited.
Can you switch on your camera when you are talking, please?
1 second. Hello. Yes, my name is Kamal Alton. I am behalf of Northwest Supermarket Limited, director of Northwest Supermarket Limited.
Okay. Shane Elliott.
Shane Elliott, licensing compliance officer and witness to the applicant.
Okay. And finally, Councillor Anthony Kelly. Your microphone, Councillor Kelly.
Good morning. Councillor Anthony Kelly, ward councillor for Greenford Broadway, where the premises is held. Speaking in support of the application.
Thank you. Now, those who are not speaking, if you can keep your microphones off, please, while the others are speaking. So I'm going to start with by asking Bob Deere to present the application, please.
Chair, I have a question, please. Yes,
Councillor Kelly.
Mr. Alton says he's speaking, representing the premises. Is the premises license holder here, or is Mr. Alton the premise license holder?
No, they've got a representative, Robert Sutherland, who is representing the premises.
Yeah, is Mr. Alton the premise license holder?
Mr. Alton, can you confirm you are the license holder?
So if it helps, the license, as I understand it, is held by Northwest Supermarket Limited. The director of Northwest Supermarket Limited is Mr. Alton.
Okay, fine. That's fine. Thank you.
It doesn't quite answer my question. But
I don't understand the question, I'm afraid.
He's the director of the Northwest Supermarket.
Fine. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Robert Deere, please present your application.
Thank you, Chair. This is indeed an application to review licensed premises, excuse me, called or held in the name of Northwest Supermarket Limited, which is at 36 to 38 the Broadway Greenford UB6 9PT, trading as Maxi Food Limited. The premises the transfer license was transferred to the company on the 21st of May 2023, and the designated premises supervisor is Mr. Abdullah Al-Tang, who I believe is the brother of the gentleman sitting here today. This premises came to notice of the licensing team earlier this year due to breach of the license and selling of alcohol after the permitted hours. On Friday, the 12th of April 2024, one of our nuisance officers, Mr. Mohammed Montague, his statement is at page 41 and is dated the 25th of the 4th, 2024. On the 12th of April, he witnessed a male enter the premises empty-handed. He came out 3 minutes later, that was at 23:41, with a bag. Clearly, he could see 3 large bottles of beer within that bag. And at 23:47, a male also left the shop with a Jack Daniels and Coke in a small can, which he showed the officer, as the officer had met him on previous occasions. On the 23rd of April, 2024, officers from the License and Compliance team drove to the vicinity of the premises and parked within 15 metres. In the immediate area, there were people waiting for buses on both sides of the road, and cars were pulling up and people could be seen entering the shop. Other people were walking to the premises. We saw 4 persons who appeared to be hanging around due to their behaviour and mannerisms were drug or alcohol users. At 23:15, I walked towards the premises and entered. Inside those premises, there was a male serving behind the counter and 2 other males were stocking shelves. One to the right and one to the left at the rear of the store. There were 2 other males in this shop, one with a basket, walking around. Walking around. And so I walked to the fridge, which is situated just past the counter on the left-hand side in the shop. The fridge was illuminated. There was no covers, blinds down, covering the alcohol. And I noticed it was stocked with a variety of beers, some that were above 6%, including Case Cider 7.5. On the bottom shelf were mainly Polish beers, so I selected a can of Zubra and 1 can of Tyskie, which and then carried them to the counter and waited to be served. The male came to the counter right at the end of the shop, the furthest from the door, and I was charged £4.08, and they were placed in a black plastic bag. I then left the shop. The other officer, who you will hear from in a minute, Mr. Elliott, entered the premises and identified himself and pointed out these offences. Sir, on 2 other occasions, I have visited the premises. On the 10th of July, when I served the review papers, they were still in breach of condition number 2, which is serving beer above 6%, and this was pointed out. On the 19th of August, I attended the premises with Trading Standards Officer Brian Gohary, and they were still breaching condition number 2. And behind the counter, we found 87 non-compliant vapes, 3,500 puffs to 12,000 puffs, and the legal limit is approximately 600. We also found 107 prescription-only sildenafil tablets, i.e. Viagra, and 31 oral sildenafil jellies that were behind the counter in a black plastic bag, just but under the counter, under the till where the young lady was serving at that time. So I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Elliott to give his evidence in this case. Thank you.
Yes, please, Mr. Elliott, switch on your microphone.
Thank you, Chair. As mentioned by Mr. Deer, I initially visited the premises on the 6th of March 2024, following the complaint that's come in to Licensing Compliance. Neither the DPS or the premises license holder, or the director, Mr. Alton, and Abdullah Alton wasn't there either. I spoke to a gentleman that was in there, and he managed to get Mr. Abdullah Alton on the phone, the DPS. I pointed out that the premises was suggesting they were trading beyond permitted hours, and he was aware of the hours that was permitted on his license conditions. And I left an inspection note, and also I issued a letter afterwards to them to reconfirm why my visit and what I found on the visit. So so on the same day, on the 6th of March, a minor variation was submitted to vary the opening hours to 24 hours. But however, the minor variation was refused following objection from the police and reports that came in that they were still trading beyond permitted hours. As Mr. Deere already explained, I was also a witness on the 23rd of April on that night when the premises were selling alcohol beyond their permitted hours. And after Mr. Deere exited the premises, he showed me the cans of beer that he purchased within the store. There's a can of Tyskie and a can of Zuba. After that, I entered the premises, and I also witnessed the sale of alcohol, and the customer purchased it and left the store. I then introduced myself to the person behind it, the man behind the till, and when he realized I was from licensing, he immediately said to me that we're not selling alcohol. And I said to him after that I already witnessed 2 sales of alcohol, and then I carried on my inspection, and I also noticed that the beer stock in the fridge was over the permitted amount, which was a breach of condition 2. So the minor variation application was also on the window of the premises. So they were, at the time, they were aware of the conditions that were on their license. So they really knew that they were selling alcohol above the percentage and beyond the permitted hours. And I also requested the CCTV footage as well of the night that we visited, and the night when the Safer Communities officers visited. And I was told by the male behind the till that he didn't know how to operate the CCTV, which is also a breach of conditions on their license, which stated that the staff needs to know how to operate the CCTV footage. The next day, after the 24th of April, I also sent an email to Mr. Alton requesting the CCTV footage also, and he said to me, he replied to me the same day that he will get the footage to me on the same day. I'm still yet to receive that footage, so I've never seen any CCTV footage of that night. And Mr. Deere's latest statement detailing his most recent visit in July is just more evidence that it continues to demonstrate the lack of regard for the Licensing Act or the objectives within, especially that the premises is in a special policy area of Greenford. And I support the application. For the license to be revoked. I did see the checklist that they submitted this morning. I think it's too little too late, because my initial visit was in March and we've only receiving this checklist 7 months later. So I will leave it as I support the application for the license to be revoked, and that's my representation.
We will come to questions later on, and I want Mr. Bob Deere to present any witness, and I believe that is Councillor Kelly. But before we go to that, Shane, you said they have circulated a schedule or a work program of conditions this morning, and you said it's too little too late. Yeah, it's too late, but does that solve the problem or not, in your view?
No, because as far as I'm aware, the conditions is that they're still in the fridge is still not lockable. So if you can see on page 23 on my inspection, you can see that this is, well, sorry, page 31, sorry.
Yeah.
The sheeting there is just a covering, it's not lockable. So that doesn't even, yes, that's still not compliant with the conditions. And also, I believe they may still be trading beyond the hours as well. So I don't think it will. I don't think it suffices, my opinion.
So you don't think that schedule is workable and will solve the issue?
So,
Yes, Bob.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, sir, no disrespect to the premises license holder, but basically that is a checklist of what they should be doing every morning when they open up and every day when they close. The premises does not close at 11 o'clock because when I went there on the 19th of August, there was a sign, the only sign on display, saying they don't sell beer between 11 and 8 o'clock in the morning, indicating that they are still staying open 24 hours. And as Officer Elliott mentioned there, page 31 clearly shows that any person can just go and put their hand straight through that, behind that screen, and lift cans of beer. So I would say no, that is not suitable. That is something a respectable, reputable premises license holder should be doing every day anyway.
Thank you. I believe you want to ask Councillor Kelly to speak on your as a witness.
Indeed, sir. I wasn't too sure if you wanted to allow Mr. Sutherland to ask us questions first before Mr. Kelly came in. I'm quite obviously.
I will go to the witness and then ask any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Kelly, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, officers.
Your voice is not very clear, Councillor Kelly. Is that just me or everyone is feeling the same?
I can't hear at all. I'm sorry.
No, I can't hear either.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Very unclear.
Very unclear, Councillor Kelly. You want to switch off your camera?
I can do, but I don't think can you hear me better now?
Well, speak and we'll see if it works.
Okay, yeah. So Councillor Ashley Kelly, Greenford Broadway Ward. If you can nod, if you can hear me better.
No.
What I'll do is I'll try and move within my house to see if I can get a better connection.
Okay.
Is that better?
If you speak, we'll see.
Better? Is that better? Is that better?
It feels a little better, but we'll see when you speak. Please speak.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm Councillor Anthony Kelly, Greenford Broadway Ward, and I yeah, sorry, it's quite. Let me know you're hearing me. I'm sort of trying to get my representation together, but
You're rather intermittent still.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to log out and come back in again. I think that's the only means left to me. So just bear with me, please.
Did he say he's going to log out and log in again?
Yes, he did, Chair. Yes, yeah.
I would expect better arrangement from Councillor Kelly. No, Councillor Kelly, we can't hear you.
Well, I'll try on my phone and see if it's better. Just better again. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, speak
Much
now and we'll
better.
see.
Yeah, fine. So I'm on my other device. So
Yes, better.
thank you very much for the subcommittee giving me the opportunity to chair, and I welcome the licensing authority's application to review this premises license. I think it's important, in my view, to separate two things from the outset, because almost suddenly there was something suggested that would this satisfy? This premises is operating in breach of its license from 11:01 to 6:59 for over a year, if not more. This premises was historically Northwest Supermarket. They applied for a license and traded without any issue, and the shop closed at 11 o'clock, like all the other shops in Greenford Broadway. All the shops closed. It may well have been soon after May when the license was changed. All of a sudden, the footpath on the Broadway, hitherto not occupied, all of a sudden 2.5 meters worth of foodstuff was being left on the footpath, and it was quite apparent that the place was open 24 hours. And they actually went on to advertise being 24 hours. I knew, obviously being the local councillor and being a member of the licensing committee, it was very unlikely that they had a license to trade over these hours. So I made inquiries and they put in for variation. It was also at that time that as I drive past there quite regularly and often over 11 o'clock at night, that people were walking in and out buying alcohol. People getting off the bus, walking in and buying alcohol. And obviously I reported it to the Shane and his team, and we are where we are. Shane talked about the shutter. Well, it's not a shutter, it's a screen. There is now a single printed, laminated A4 sheet saying that we do not serve alcohol up after 11 o'clock. However, the alcohol, that is just the beer. That is just the beer that's not secure, but it's screened. It's a screen that you can put your hand around. But behind the counter is the full range of spirits. The market offer of spirits, various sizes, are all there available in front of you visually to look at. So the variation to trade was not granted. So they are now every night open. And we understand that on everybody who has visited enforcement, as they've been able to purchase alcohol. So I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
So we will go to the questions now. Mr. Robert Sutherland, I'm going to start by asking you if you have any questions to Robert Deere, Shane Elliott, or Councillor Kelly. So please ask if you have any question. It's only a question. You will have your chance to make your representation. But if you have any question or clarification at this stage.
Thank you, sir. I have a few questions. It may help. It may help Mr. Deere and Mr. Elliott if I indicate at this stage that I'm not questioning their evidence in relation to what they say happened on the dates that they say it happened. The questions I have are just in relation to a number of other things around that, and also moving forward. In respect of the license holder, and it may be that Mr. Deere is not the ideal person to ask for this, but I'm sure that there'll be somebody who's listening who might be able to assist. Mr. Deere, you indicated that the DPS was a Mr. Abdullah Alton, and if I suggested to you that I think within the last few weeks an application had been made to change the DPS to, bear with me, a Mr. Aydin Yengin. Are you aware of that?
I wasn't, sir. No, it could have happened if because obviously we wouldn't be notified of that for some strange reason. I appreciate as well.
In respect of the proposal, I suppose, going forward, is that if I suggested to you that there are a number of things that are being proposed, you can obviously give your indication as to whether you feel that they would be helpful or not. If the checklist which you've seen is coupled with the DPS change which has already happened and a suspension of the license for a short period to allow the lockable shutters which have been ordered to be fitted, would that help or not?
Personally, I would say no, sir, because as was mentioned earlier, this premise is in a special priority area. The night I was stood outside while Officer Elliott went inside, it is attracting loads and loads of people, and sorry to say, quite a few unsavoury characters as well to the area, which would make it very unsafe for women and vulnerable people. The area, I say, it's got its problems anyway. There are numerous, and I mean numerous, off licence, and that's why in the area they're all closed. So this place is attracting people. It is still open after 11, and I say, as I saw the sign, we're really talking about at least 5 sales of alcohol that have been witnessed, or and numerous breaches. And on the last occasion, on the 19th of August, that was pointed out again about the breach of high strength beer. The gentleman did apologise. He wasn't too sure that the beer at 7.5% was that strong.
Can I ask Kemal to stay online, switch on the camera and be visible, please? Kemal? Yeah, okay, carry on, please.
Thanks. Yeah, so I would say those things, even though they would help perhaps a new business, you know, they've traded now without all these bits for too long.
There's a question I'm going to ask you because I think I have to, in the sense that it's obviously relevant to the particular instructions that I have, but it may well be that we don't agree in relation to the answer. That may not be a surprise to you, Mr. Deere, but I'm just sort of setting out my interpretation of the license. There's nothing on the license which says that the premises have to close at a particular time, is there?
It does have opening hours, sir. That's what I'd say. I appreciate it. Well,
sorry, I interrupted.
No, sorry. I think it does have closing times as well.
You're going to have to assist me because I couldn't see any, and it may be that I've missed them. I accept that there's a section on there which deals with opening hours, but I can't see, and that obviously says so that we're all on the same page as it is, and I think that's page 34. The license talks about from 0700 to 0000, so to midnight. That's the only reference to opening hours that I can see on the license. I'm happy to be corrected there, Mr. Dean.
No, you're quite correct, sir. That's the hours I read, 7 in the morning until midnight every night.
Okay. My other comments in relation to that, I think, are comments, not really questions, so I won't trouble you with those. The last visit to your premises, to the premises, and this isn't a criticism, it's just again to make sure that that we're again both working on the same dates. The last date that I have with you at the premises, or someone from Ealing being at the premises, is the 19th of August. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, sir. That was indeed myself and Officer Gohari from the Trading Standards.
Thank you. Sarah, I've got no further questions.
Thank you. Councillor Bland, you have raised your hand.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, I've got a very quick, just a clarification from Mr. Sutherland. Can you tell me if that DPS change has happened or it's in application at the moment?
Sorry, this is a question too?
Yes, question to Mr. Sutherland. He just mentioned the change of DPS. Has that actually happened?
I understand that is correct, sir. I'm reliant very much upon your licensing officer's records, I'm afraid. But my understanding is that DPS variation happened since the last hearing, which was, I think, last month.
Mr. Alton should be able to answer this question. Mr. Alton, do you have the answer to this question?
Yeah, it has been changed to the ID engine. The DPS has been changed.
Okay, thank you very much. And one more question, Chair. May I to Bob Deere? Could I?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So just about the cans of beer that were bought on the, I think it's 24th of April, isn't it? They were bought as single items, were they? I think just to clarify, they were bought as single items. Were they priced?
No, sir. No, they weren't.
No.
I just picked up the 2 cans, took them to the counter,
Okay.
and the man said they're £4.08.
Okay, so they weren't priced or bar tagged or anything like that. So, okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
All the other beer was priced quite well, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much. Thanks. And was it all the other beer? Was it all sold? Because there's on the license it says no beer to be sold in single cans. The other beers were in packs of 4, were they?
No, sir. No, they're all broken up.
All broken up.
Out of
Okay,
the packs.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks. Okay.
Were the priced at single?
Yes, sir. I think one of my exhibits does show that the priced up. It's not, unfortunately, it's not unusual, should we say, for Polish beer for some reason. Well, I think I know the reason. It is very rarely priced. All the other beer, Foster's and things like that. In fact, even the cans of 7.5, the Dragon Soup was priced extortionately, I might add. But yeah, they're all priced.
Thank
Do
you.
we know that beer? Do we know if the beer was duty paid or not?
It's very hard to tell, sir. There was no indication it wasn't.
Right. Okay.
Okay, my colleague, Councillor Nagpal, you have a question.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify the new DPS's relationship to the business. Is he just an employee or do they have some kind of stake in the ownership? Thank you.
Mr. Sutherland?
Madam Councillor, my understanding is that he doesn't have a stake in the business.
Then I
I'm
think
sure.
Mr. Alton should answer this question if you're not sure.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Alton, the new DPS, what is his relationship with the business or to the director?
Is my father-in-law.
Is your father-in-law?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Nagpal, do you have any further question? Okay, Councillor Kelly, you have a question, you said?
Yeah, it was really to push Councillor Nagpal's point a bit further. It was suggested today by Mr. Sutherland that there's a new DPS. We can't, the application has gone in. We can't confirm whether it's in fact in the case, but nothing's been spoken about this person. And the greatest respect, someone's father-in-law is a mature man by definition. But the people.
Is that a question, Councillor Kelly?
Yes, it will come. It will be a question. Will be a question.
Okay.
But it doesn't address who. It doesn't tell me who is working in the shop during the night. Because there's nobody working in the shop. And a shop that my understanding is shouldn't be opened, and now we're being offered a DPS who isn't here. And if they were here, we may have a different narrative. It doesn't tell me who will be working in the shop. Well, I'm not saying during the night because the shop should be open during the night. Who is this DPS, and what is it they can offer that's going to change the premises and how it operates?
Mr. Alton, do you want to answer this question? Is the DPS going to work at night, and what difference is it going to make? Is that the question, Councillor Kelly?
Well, why we? It's this thing. I didn't say it shouldn't be open through the night, and we're talking about if that's like a fait accompli. This is not an application to open during the night.
What is the question, Councillor Kelly? What is the question?
It's a misimportant. Well, I don't believe we should be asking who's working through the night. We should be asking who is going to uphold the license objectives now. Not whether it opens through the night.
Okay.
However, we've been, I know visually who works there through the night, and I don't, and I can visualize the person who's there through the night. And he's somebody I've known, I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I got your
this
question.
DPS, tell me who this DPS is. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Sutherland will deal with it in his presentation. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I don't see any other indication for questions. So in that case, I'm going to go to Mr. Sutherland and ask him to present his case. Mr. Sutherland, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Can I, before I start, apologise in the sense that I have a camera, obviously, that's very close to my face, and it may look as though I'm not looking at you.
And I just
when I'm
need to
addressing
close.
you.
I just need to close the door behind me. Just if you give me 1 second.
Thank you, sir.
But the interface is very good, Mr. Sutherland. Looks fine from my point of view.
Thank you, but I appreciate that I may well be looking to one side because I have a lot of papers all around me, and I didn't want anyone to think that I was being rude in some way. Thank you. In relation to this particular matter, Councillor, what I would indicate is that there's probably two aspects to this case. There may well be one matter that that everyone will vehemently oppose and object to, but I would say is what the premises is entitled to do. And there are a number of matters which, as you'll have picked up from my lack of questions to Mr. Deere and also my indication that there are breaches that shouldn't have happened, and what I'm looking at addressing is to make sure that they don't happen again and that the licensing objectives are promoted. And that's really where I would like to go through the presentation. There's obviously a number of questions which Councillor Kelly has asked, which I will look to address as well. In respect of this particular matter, there's a number of dates which have been mentioned in relation to breaches, and I think we go back with Mr. Elliott back to the 6th of March, and then obviously various dates through to the 19th of August. The director of the company believed that the DPS was certainly and had certainly addressed these matters, and it obviously became very clear prior to the last hearing that they had not, and consequently the DPS was removed and changed. As Councillor Kelly has indicated, the individual is older. He is the father-in-law of the director, but and therefore some might say has some interest in obviously what goes on, but is not does not receive a financial benefit, as it were, from the business, obviously, other than what he is paid. So he's not directly benefiting from the business itself. The proposal, as I've indicated to in the questions that I was putting to Mr. Deere, is very much that with the change of the DPS, with the apology from the license holder, and with the proposed checklist, together with a suspension for a short period to enable the shutters to be installed, that that would be an appropriate and proportionate response in relation to this matter, and would promote the licensing objectives. It is accepted that the premises is operated with the sale of alcohol outside of hours. It should not have done, and as I've said, they believe that that had been addressed by the director, but by the DPS, but it clearly hasn't. There is another issue which I'm going to ask the committee to disregard, and it's the suggestion that the premises, whilst trading through the night, it's in breach of its license. And it's my submission that there is nothing on the license which prevents the premises from operating through the night. There is no condition, there's no restriction which requires the premises to close. The license does have opening hours, but they are opening hours. It does not prevent the premises from operating lawfully without the sale of alcohol, of course, through those additional hours, and the premises obviously avails itself of that. Now, it is also correct that there are conditions on the license which deal with securing the alcohol so that it is in a lockable cabinet, or is not able to be selected by customers outside of the hours that the premises is able to sell alcohol. To that end, Councillor Kelly refers to spirits. All of the spirits, as he's indicated, are behind the counter. There is no public access to those items, and there is signage indicating the hours that the alcohol is available. In relation to the beers and wines, it's those items which are not in a lockable cabinet, but have been dealt with by Shutter, and more recently, whilst the lockable shutters are being obtained, by blocking off the aisle so that there is no access to the alcohol after a particular time, after 2300, or if we're talking about a Sunday, after 2230. That is the process which is used at the moment. So whilst there is no lock on the cabinet, I would indicate that there's no access to the cabinet either, because the whole of the aisle access to the alcohol is blocked. The cabinets, the lockable cabinets, have been ordered. They should have been installed, but there was a difficulty, and the installer, I think, fixed another date as they weren't able to fulfill the original agreement, which is why I'm proposing that if the premises license is suspended for a period of time, a short period of time, that would enable those lockable cabinets to be put in place. The change of the DPS, together with the checklist which I've submitted to the committee, as Mr. Deere has indicated, the checklist I think is good practice, and I think is helpful. It's helpful in two ways. One, in the sense that it makes sure that staff know exactly what they're required to do and when they're required to do it. And it also provides a timed checklist so that that can be checked by the DPS and by the director of the license holder as well, to ensure that staff are complying with the requirements of the license. It deals with all of the items and the requirements set out on the license, whether that's in relation to the locking of the cabinets, the display of signage, the CCTV. The CCTV is operational. I note there was a request for CCTV. The response, or the reason that I'm given as to why it was not provided, is that at the time, I think the employee...
Sorry, can I ask Mr. Alton to stay on camera, please? Yeah.
Now, in relation to the CCTV, I understand it was requested. I think that at the time, the employee who would have dealt with it was sick, and there was some difficulty in getting hold of Mr. Alton, and it appears to have been missed, the request, and therefore it wasn't provided. Not an acceptable situation. And what is ensured is that staff are trained in the usage of the CCTV system and will be able to deal with requests on the day when there's a request to view it, or for a copy of the CCTV to be provided. So that addresses the CCTV requirement. The notices, as are required by the license, are all on display. The staff are trained, and it is Mr. Alton's intention that the staff who work there will complete the license holders training, so that they have that, so that will supplement, obviously, the training which is provided both by Mr. Alton and also the agents that he uses at this licensing. So I'm sure there will be questions for me, but that is what we would look to say to the committee in order to not revoke the license today. But sorry, things weren't done as they should have been done. And what we are asking is that a short suspension, changing the DPS, which we have done already, and that will promote the licensing objectives, and you can be assured that we will comply with the terms of the license.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So just to clarify, before I go to questions, you are offering lockable cabinets. You are offering lockable aisle where the beers are held, staff training by the agency, licensing training, change of DPS, and the schedule that you have provided, plus the functioning of the CCTV. Is there anything else you have offered, or I have got properly?
So I think you summarise it accurately. What I would say in relation to the lockable cabinets there is that they are on order and will be fitted. Once they're in place, the blocking of the aisle would not be necessary, because obviously there'll be a sealed cabinet behind it. So at the moment, whilst we're getting the lockable cabinets fitted, we're using the blockage of the aisle so that customers can't access the items.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go to questions now, and I'll start by taking a question from the responsible authority. Mr. Elliott, you first.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a question regarding Mr. Sutherland's representation. I don't know if Mr. Sutherland can answer it, or Mr. Alton. Mr. Sutherland, in the representation, you said that Mr. Alton was aware that the CCTV was requested. Is that what you said in the representation just now?
He wasn't aware. I have indicated that he became aware of the CCTV being requested. He wasn't aware, obviously, on the day that it's requested, but I think you made contact with him in order to request the CCTV. My understanding is that did get through to him, and it appears that it was overtaken by other matters, and it wasn't provided. As I've indicated, not acceptable. And the way that I'm addressing that is by making sure that that all the staff are not only trained in the use of the CCTV, but feel confident in dealing with requests for CCTV. It can be difficult sometimes when there's a police officer or a licensing officer comes along to a premises. Staff can get very nervous and indicate that they're not able to do something when in reality they are. So it's a question of a bit of confidence, training, making sure that they feel competent in being able to do as requested.
I want to ask the same question to Mr. Alton, why the CCTV was not provided?
Hello, yeah. In that date, the person that usually working in the night shift, the one he just knows everything is the password and other things. He wasn't there. Because he was not feel in that time. And another one guy was just cover him on that, and he didn't know about it. If that's my mistake, I haven't tell him about that. I couldn't give it a training in that date, and he tried to contact me. And when he couldn't contact me, and he doesn't know about it, and he doesn't show to the gentleman when he came there.
So they had no training. Okay, thank you. Councillor Kelly, you've got a question. Only question, please. Your microphone, Councillor Kelly.
Sorry, the DPS, the current DPS, does the current DPS, the old, we don't know whether it's changed, so let's work on the premise that that's about to change. But Mr. Aiden is going to be the new DPS, that's the proposal. The current DPS, when and what part of the operation are they doing currently? Have they been working there during the night? will that DPS be continued to work at the premises, given that he's been taken off, that person's been taken off the DPS? How will they continue to be part of the business?
I'm not sure, Councillor, whether I'm understanding the question correctly. I think,
Well,
first of all,
okay.
Sorry, if I set out what I think the situation you're asking me about, and then if I've misunderstood, I'm sure you'll correct me. In respect of the Mr. Aden, my understanding is, and I'm putting it this way, I'm relatively confident, but my understanding is that the application to change the DPS was put in a number of weeks ago. There were no objections to it, and therefore it will be the case, even though no one appears to confirm it, but it will be the case that he is the DPS, because in the absence of any objection, the application has to be granted. So Mr. Aden is the DPS at this moment in time. My understanding is that he will not be at the premises every day, but will attend the premises regularly. The purpose of the check sheet is to enable him, obviously, to supervise the premises and ensure that things are happening as they should in accordance with the license. He will obviously also have access to the CCTV, and he will also be able to check that things are happening as they should through the CCTV. I think that addresses your question, but I am going to, at this moment, just ask Mr. Alton whether there's anything I need or whether he would wish to add to what I've indicated so far.
Yes, Mr. Alton, you want to add anything to what Mr. Sutherland said?
Yes. First of all, the DPS is working in here anyway. He will be working the night shifters also. But other things, we just order the shutters is with the lock. And another things, after 11, the shutter keys haven't got the stuffs can cache there. Is after 11, we're gonna lock it, and the DPS will get the key with him till the other 8 o'clock in morning another day to come open himself. That is not access even stuffs to sell any alcohol to anyone else in any other hours of alcohol premises license.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Deer, you've got a question, I believe.
Sorry, Chair. I didn't really receive an answer. In part, I think I know who Mr. Aden is. I believe I know who he is. I'm not going to ask for a visual description of the person. I know the person that works there through the night and is going to continue to work there through the night. And I understand what the proposal is moving forward. But we've had a old DPS, so would agree that the old DPS, what part are they taking in the premises? Given the fairly, in my view, egregious breaches, what part will the previous DPS take in the premises, in the operation, in the company?
My understanding is none, but again, let me refer to Mr. Alton to confirm whether my understanding is correct. But I understand that's the situation.
Yes, the old DPS has already been removed from the premises license DPS, and also he's not working anymore with us. He's not will be in the store anymore at this time.
Okay, that has answered the question. Now I'll move on to Mr. Deer.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Abdullah Alton or the old DPS, is he not your brother, Mr. Alton?
Yeah, he was my brother, but he just go back on his country to Germany. He's not here anymore, and he's not contact with the business anymore.
Okay. And the new DPS, as you say, is your father-in-law. Has he worked in the shop previously?
Yes, he normally just in the day shift.
So, yeah, he doesn't do nights, does he?
He used to be not, but now he's gonna be stay in the night shift till alcohol license hours.
Okay. And can you just perhaps tell us all what sort of experience he's got in running off licenses?
Yeah, he's already been 20 years. He just owned his business from in his country as well, and he just been work with us in past 4 years. Yeah, is another 4 years he has worked with us in our business before than this. But he knows just everything is about the conditions, everything is about the licensing and the alcohol hours and the licensing objectives. He knows everything is about them. And like I said, the other things I'm gonna be the controller result to him in the same times, and nobody will access the keys anyway in the out of the hours. That's we can just offer them.
Sorry, one question with two parts, really. Was your father-in-law the DPS at your other business? Because he's obviously had a license for a little while. And do the shutters, or will the shutters, cover the spirits?
Yeah, it will cover the spirits and the beers and the wines. The all alcohol section has been covered by shutters, the lock shutters.
And sorry, the first part of the question, sorry, I shouldn't have put them both together. Has your father-in-law, or was your father-in-law the DPS at your other business?
No, it hasn't been DPS, but he was working with us. He had a personal license, been 3 years in this country. He wasn't been DPS, but he had experience work with us, and he knows the rules about the licensing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My colleagues, Councillor Gland, you have a question, I believe.
Thank you very much, Chair. This is a question for Mr. Elton. The high strength lager and cider, could you tell us how long you've been selling that? And could you tell us the order process as well? Because obviously you had to purchase it from somewhere. When did you decide to start selling that? And could you also fill us in on the non-compliant vapes and Viagra being sold? What is the order process for that, and why it was being sold?
Yeah, the high volume of the lagers, if you be honest, we wasn't selling here, but we had another store, another area, and I wasn't here in that time, and they just to get some stock from there, and then the high volume stock came with them, and the stuff they didn't know, and they put in the fridge. But we haven't even get any stock for high volume from any cash and carry, any suppliers. That came from like I said, another store by mistake. And the Sandophil and the Viagra, they just told him, if you be honest, they just get it from the company. They didn't display, they didn't sell it. It was under counter, is in the bag. They shouldn't be there in the same times when they came, but it shouldn't be there. But they've been one of the stuff, if you be honest, they just got to them things, but we haven't sold that in the premises. When I heard, I've been shocked because I didn't know about them stuff. It wasn't there because, like I said, it wasn't on the display. It wasn't on the shelves and the area we can see. I think there's some black and the under counter. It was. And what was another question?
No, that was a question. So were you saying that? Are you saying that they weren't selling vapes? They weren't selling vapes and they weren't selling Viagra?
No, not the vapes. The Viagra and the Sandophil are just told. The vapes, yet it was the vapes. The thing was just we get from the supplier and we got the invoices, and we just check all of them, and they say that they got the license to sell. That's the high vapes. That is under licensing. That's we just got it. And when the first they said you can't just remove from the shelves, but we didn't know because on the vapes, all the time they changed some rules and some things, and we can't if you be the catch them if you be honest. And every day that something new came out, but the guy was with just a supplier to us is a company. The bigger company is in the UK. Then it's kind by invoices, and then when they say it's been licensed and you can sell it, is a legal to the sell, and we just go from them. And when they just your counselor came and they said it's not, they just we remove it from the shelves and we didn't stock anymore.
Okay, so you're saying that the sale of non-compliant vapes was just a mistake, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just on the other point, if I may, about the transfer of goods from another shop. So the other shop is a place where you can sell high strength lager. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So and how does that process work? Where stock sort of gets transferred from that business into this business?
That's already I just trading about it on my stores. We not get any stock from any other stores. It only has to be supplier from the cash and carriers, and we not get any transferring from anywhere else. And also that business is not anymore with us. Also, we just get off that. That's the times, because when we just sold that business, they said we don't want them some of the alcohol. That's the way they've been transferred to here. But we haven't got that business anymore anyway.
Good.
That is not under our control.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. Thanks very much.
I'll come to Bob after, but first, Councillor Nagpal.
Thank you, Chair. I want to ask Mr. Alton how often he attends the premises and how involved he is in the day-to-day running of the business, how often you interact with staff. And I also want to understand that if you were made aware of some of the things happening in your store that were against your license, why they were not corrected between March and August? Thank you.
Mr. Alton?
Yeah, in the like I said, in that times is another the supervisor DPS. He is was his control, but he didn't show me something. If we be honest, then when I see from something councillor, I just can understand it. I was in the control, but in that time I've been some issue. I was out of the country, in my own country, Turkey, and I've got some health issues. I've been in there. It was a little bit under not my control. That's why I just left my brother in here. And when I hear them, I just get the things with him as well, because I trust him to do. I give him the training also, Evan. But now I can get the more seriously to the happen, and I'm gonna also put the DPS, and I'm gonna control myself. The DPS also the stuffs in the working store. That's I can do that now.
Do you mind answering the first question as well, please? So how involved are you with the day-to-day running of the business? How often do you visit the premises? What is your interaction with the staff like? How often do you work with them, train them, deal with them, discuss the business with them, etc.?
I couldn't get you. Just to carry
So the council is asking you how much are you involved with the day-to-day business?
Oh, no. Now just I'm coming regularly 7 days. I'm coming 9 to 6, 7, 8. Minimum I'm being here more than 10, 11 hours. And I'm coming regularly every day. I can say that.
Yeah, so his answer is that before his brother was involved, now his brother is gone and he's taking care on daily basis.
Yes.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Nagpal?
Yes, more or less. So prior to this, you were not very involved with the businesses at all. Is that what you're saying?
Pardon?
Yeah, that is what he's saying. His brother Abdullah was involved.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Deer.
Thank you, Chair. It was just in response to, I think it was Councillor Gallant's question in respect of the Sildenafil that wasn't for sale. Has Mr. Alton seen my exhibit RD3 of my visit on the 10th when I served the papers from the review? The tablets are clearly on display in front of bottles of vodka and things like that, right behind where he was stood. So they were for sale, weren't they?
Mr. Sutherland or Mr. Alton, you want to answer this question?
Yeah, that's not like I said. There was a tablet, but I removed from the shelf. Like I said, we don't sell in that times when they just went up in the store in that times. I saw them and I removed. If you after that, the counselor and the other person when they just visit, they shouldn't see because there wasn't. In before then, like I said, I wasn't in the store because at that time I just came, and when I saw them, I just removed and I didn't tell them because, like I said, it's under my brother control, and I wasn't spend up more times to the business in the time. But when I saw it, it's just it was a display. He is right, but if he I don't know if he visit after that times, it shouldn't there anything because I removed all of them and I told them as well. Like I said previously, I wasn't spend times in store. Because my brother was in there.
But in answer to your point there, Mr. Alton, you have a brother and you appoint him as the DPS of the premises. Fair enough, he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But you leave the business. He's in the day-to-day running. You put all your business, as you were the sole director, on his shoulders, or you believe him to be compliant. That's what you're trying to say. And he's selling Viagra tablets, which he shouldn't be. He's selling vapes. And fair enough, I appreciate you said when you saw them, you removed them from the shelf, but you put them under the counter for some strange reason, which the girl tried to stand in front of my colleague when we were searching there, as if to say she knew they were there as well. They should have been off the premises, shouldn't they? That's what you should have done with them.
Yeah, that you are right on that. Just they should remove it, but like I said, I just told them remove because in same times I was in another business, and yeah, you are right on that. But now I'm just 100%. I'm in here, and I just to control myself. Everything's I can offer you now. But you are right on that.
Yeah, but obviously I appreciate you're not a premises license holder. Sorry, you're not a personal license holder. Sorry.
Also, no, I am personal license holder as well. Also.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yes,
so, but I suppose the next question then is why you become the DPS if you're there more than your father-in-law, and you're putting your business in the hands of your father-in-law, i.e. in the day-to-day running. The decisions he makes will be the right decisions, and it could be that if the committee decide to accept your or Mr. Sutherland's recommendations, we're back here in 6 months, 8 months time, because you're leaving your business in the hands of other people.
Before, like I said, yeah, I had more than one business. It was, but now only one business I have, and it's going to be under my control now.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Kelly, you have one question now.
It may be. Yes, hi. I'm not sure who I can direct this question to, but I would seek some guidance in the response. Mr. Sutherland believes that the premises is entitled to operate without selling alcohol through the night. That's his interpretation. Mr. Deer hasn't commented on that, so I'm just sort of seeking some guidance here. I mean, the variation.
Okay, Councillor Kelly, Alison is online, so Alison is going to respond to that, I believe.
Yes, I think I agree with Mr. Sutherland's interpretation. It's the open for retail sales is not a licensable activity. Theoretically, you could have a condition on the license that required the premises to close, but there's no such condition on there at the moment. So as things stand at the moment, the shop would be allowed to open 24/7 with alcohol sales within the time on the license. Thanks.
Thank you, Alison.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we've come to the end of the question session, and now we are going to go to the summing up. But before we go to the summing up, I'm just going to read what has been offered by Mr. Sutherland. That is particularly for the attention of the responsible authority. Mr. Sutherland is offering lockable cabinets, shutters to the all alcohol and beers. He's also offering a staff training from approved licensing agency. He's also told us that the old DPS has left the country and the new DPS will be in the shop, and the Mr. Alton would be visiting more often and checking. He's also offered that the keys of the alcohol cabinets will remain with the DPS, and after the licensable hours, DPS will take the keys away and will not be accessible to the other staff. And he's also offered that the Mr. Alton will be checking the checklist on regular basis to confirm that things are done as suggested. I think that covers up everything. Mr. Sutherland, is there anything that I have missed?
Sir, forgive me. I've got a sore
That's
throat,
okay.
so I'm sucking something. So I do apologise.
Let
we're talking.
let Councillor Grant speak in while you are chewing something. Councillor Grant.
Yes, thanks, Chair. Just very quickly about this keys. So we know that the new DPS is not going to be there every day. He's going to be there on a fairly regular basis. So if, for example, the cabinets were
I think they have said DPS will be there every day, but Mr. Alton will be coming on regular basis.
I heard the DPS wouldn't be there. Are you
Mr.
guaranteeing
Alton,
that?
you want to clarify that? Mr. Alton, you want to clarify that?
Yeah, he will be here every day. And like said, if he be away, I will be here, cover him. But both of us, it will be stopped every time when hours of alcohol license.
So what you're saying is the key for that lockable cabinet will be handed over from the DPS. Will be taken by you or the DPS precisely at 11 o'clock every single night. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Thanks, Chair.
Well, that is a matter for them to decide how they manage that, but the keys will not be accessible to the other staff. That's what I take it.
Okay, thank you very much.
They might put the keys in a locker somewhere and can take them back, but as long as they are not accessible, that's what they're offering. Mr. Sutherland, is there anything that I have missed?
Sir, I think the only additional thing that I put on the table, and I will repeat it, though it's obviously a matter for the committee at the end of the day, is the suggestion that instead of revocation, modifications that we've talked about, but a suspension of the license for a short period. And that's, I think, the only additional thing that I'd put there.
Yes, suspension until, yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll go to summing up now. And I will start by Mr. Deere.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, my recommendation still stands of revocation. The reason that is because we are here 7 months after the problems were highlighted, or 8 months after the problems are highlighted. And no disrespect to Mr. Sutherland, but it's a bit after the horse is bolted. You know, these things should have been done. I appreciate he's been called in late on the day and has come to the table with something positive. I appreciate that. But the number of times of illegal sales, breaches of conditions that were still going on after the papers of this review was served, when you would have thought they would be on their best behaviour, as they say. So I think the time has come to revoke the licence. As I said, everything is appreciated what was being offered. You know, but the lockable shutters should have been lockable. There shouldn't have been any high strength beer on that premises, and the beer was there. And you know, we can't keep blaming staff members and perhaps an inadequate, I like to call it, DPS, if that's what he was, because he obviously didn't listen to one thing that Officer Elliott said to him. The CCTV, again, breach there, wasn't supplied. I appreciate now things have been hopefully could be put in place, but I think it's too late, sir, and I think revocation is the right result. Thank you.
Thank you. Just for clarification, Mr. Dear, is this the first time we are reviewing this, or this has been reviewed before as well?
No, this is the first time, sir. They took over the premises in 2021, I think it was. That's when the license was transferred. So 3 years. Obviously, I'd like to remind you as well, it's in a special priority area where, you know, in this if this premises wasn't open, my opinion, of course, that we wouldn't see the undesirables hanging around in Greenford Broadway as much. You know, people coming from afar as well. We got residents above shops, opposite shops, that must be disturbed by the cars pulling up all hours of the night as well. And it's been known, and once you get known for selling alcohol late, you'll keep getting visitors, and people coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Sutherland, it's your turn to sum up, a short sum up.
Sorry, sorry, Chair. What about Mr. Elliott and myself?
I don't think there's a summing up for the witness, Alison.
It's in your hands, Chair. If Mr. Elliott and Councillor Kelly want to say a few lots words, and if no other parties object, then I think that can be permitted. But it's pretty much in your hands.
Okay. Shane, you want to sum up?
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick one. I appreciate what Mr. Sutherland is proposing to us, but I still myself stand with the application to revoke the license. I don't think what's being proposed is the suspension and the change of DPS and the suggested local cabinets is proportionate to the contraventions that's been going on for this the length of period of time. So I don't, and also it's kind of seeming like the responsibility has been pushed from Mr. Alton himself onto his employees, but Mr. Alton has already said that he has managed other shops, and he does know what's required to be managing the premises like off license, and he's aware that conditions are meant to be followed and adhered to. So I don't think that Mr. Alton is as naive as is being claimed to be, but I still stand that the application should be revoked. Thank you.
Councillor Kelly, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair. It's unfortunate, but I have to accept that there's no requirement. You know, they are allowed to open the shop 24 hours, but since this shop has opened 24 hours, Greenford Broadway, despite its challenges during the day, was relatively peaceful after 11 o'clock and when the public houses and takeaways closed. Relatively peaceful. This changed very much after this, and it's hard to measure these things, but it is quite visible that people were visiting this shop and buying alcohol here. Now, so over many months down the line, we've been offered conditions that should have been put forward a year ago. So it's evident to me that there's no observance of the license and objectives, no understanding, or it's a way of evading them. For me, it's for the birds to think that people are going to come to Greenford Broadway in the middle of the night to buy a tomato, a radish, and a watermelon. It's simply not a model that I see viable. Business and you have to stay there for a period of time. All the people, many of the people going, and I live very close by, and I drive by all the time, and I see the staff in the front, in the back. People are going in there buying alcohol during the night. We have this talk about we're going to hand the keys over to this person, and this person's the DPS, and he's going to be trained, and he's going to be trained. You know, and that's for an operator to sort out. But if we had a DPS here today in front of us, I may have had more confidence. I don't. I don't have confidence that the proposed or the new DPS is able to promote or uphold or understand the license objectives. Had they been here today, I might be saying okay, but you know, it just seems to me a person has been put under the bus, and we have to accept that that's the person that's going to go under the bus now. This place has been operating since it's been taken over through the night, serving alcohol, serving illicit goods, vapes, pharmacy, and alcohol through the night. There's nothing here I've heard today that gives me confidence that this premises and the new DPS, because we haven't met this person, can uphold the license and objectives. They've got a monopoly on town in Greenford when it comes to serving alcohol. I've no confidence that will stop. So I would like to you know, seek clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sutherland, your turn to sum up.
Thank you, sir. I think you summed up indeed the suggested proposals, which I submit are proportionate and appropriate in this particular case, very well, and I don't propose to repeat them because I think you've summed them up better than I could, sir. In relation to the keys, I think the proposal is, and I think this was clarified with your discussions with Councillor Gallant, the how those keys are managed, I think is probably a matter for the operator. But what I would say, sir, is that the keys would be retained by the DPS or director of the license holder, so that you can be assured that they're not accessible to staff. In respect of Councillor Kelly's submission, there's reference to the DPS not being here. It is unfortunate the DPS is not here. I know that they were intending to be here, but I am aware that there were some difficulties with regards to regards to their Teams link and how they were going to do it. There was a suggestion that I would ask for the hearing to be put back so he could be present, and I indicated that I didn't think that the committee would be favourable to such a suggestion, and if it was possible for him to gain access, then he would have joined us during the hearing. Unfortunately, that's obviously proved not to be possible. I didn't trouble you with it simply because, as I say, the hearing was set down, and we were looking obviously to proceed and not cause any inconvenience to the committee. Having said all of that, the proposal very much is, and this is picking up really with the comments from Mr. Deere and Mr. Elliott, it's not a question that the staff are being blamed. I think certainly the previous DPS did not do what he should have done. What Mr. Alton is saying is, I've got rid of the DPS, I've got a new DPS, but also as director of the company that operates, I'm taking responsibility and I'm stepping up in relation to the requirement. So my presence and attendance at the premises will be greater. I'm taking a great deal of responsibility in ensuring that we comply with the terms of the license going forward, and it will be both myself and the DPS, the new DPS, that will be responsible for that. I will not just be relying upon staff and the DPS as happened during this year, partly due to other commitments and partly due to Mr. Elton's health, as he's indicated. So it's on that basis that I would indicate to you that the proportionate and appropriate response in respect of this matter are the matters that we've talked about, that I've offered, together with a suspension of the license. Put all those matters together, sir, and I think that that's the appropriate way to deal with this case. And I would urge that the committee proceed on that basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we retire to make a decision, I want to confirm with Sean O'Brien. Sean, do you need any clarification, or you're okay with your notes?
Only that for the potential suspension, how long would it be till the new?
That is something for us to decide if we are minded to do that. So that will be done in the deliberations. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just more thinking of the how long until you get the new shutters installed. Is there a time frame?
So if I can help with that, it was hoped, as I say, that the shutters would have been installed this week. I'm looking for the shutters to be installed before the end of this month. I would hope it's quicker than that, but certainly before the end of October.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to clarify?
No.
Alison, on your side, have we covered everything, or there is anything that we need?
I think so. I think so, Chair. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I think we will be able to make a decision by 12:30. If we need more time, then obviously you will be notified. But I hope we will be back by 12:30. So you can leave now, and we will go private with the legal advisor and the committee clerk to make a decision.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All gone?
We're offline now, we're.
Sean, you are on